Alright, so going into this movie, I saw all the bad headlines for it, the Rotten Tomatoes score, the bad reviews were just everywhere. But I promised myself I wouldn't let it ruin my experience watching this movie because the first Joker was so good and had such a big impact and just a huge surprise. And I was like, there's no way this movie will be that bad as people are saying, especially after seeing those trailers, which I actually really liked. And I have to say, after watching Joker Folie, Deux, I don't even know if I'm saying that name right, but bear with me. I have to say, this movie is nowhere near as bad as most people are saying. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie has a ton of problems and is nowhere near as good as the first movie. But to say it's a bad movie, I think is totally unfair. What I would call it is a totally unnecessary movie. I think most people, including myself, when this movie was announced, we all said this movie is so unnecessary. Why are they doing it? They could ruin the first one. And after this movie, I definitely feel the same way. I think I would have felt the same way even if this movie was a 10 out of 10 great movie. I would have said, but we didn't really need it. Now, love it or hate it, the first Joker movie had something to say, and in my opinion, it executed that very well with the whole mental health side. And this movie really has nothing to say at all and doesn't even build on the first one, on the story or even the character of Arthur Fleck. Like, I don't even know if this movie, if it even had anything to say if it said it, because I didn't really take away any message, any big impact from this movie like how I did with the original. Now, I'm not saying every movie that comes out, especially a comic book movie, has to have a message or make you feel some certain way, but this one literally had just nothing. But also another big problem I have is this movie feels directionless at sometimes and feels like 3 to 4 different movies at once because it has so many different genres and themes to it. Like, it's a musical, of course, it's a courtroom drama, it's a love story, and it keeps bouncing back and forth. Each scene is like a different genre, and that just kind of annoyed me. But I do feel like individually these scenes were really good. Like, I was really locked into the court drama stuff, but then it would switch to the musical part, which I did like, but it pulled me out of the court drama. It just wasn't paced very well at all. Like I said, the court drama, it's not anything special. It's not the best court drama movie I've ever seen. It's not the worst. I was very entertained by it. It probably was the most interesting part of the movie to me. And the musical side of this movie, something I was very skeptical going into it, was honestly a big surprise of how much I enjoyed it. First of all, visually, it was the best part to look at the movie. The visuals in this movie are great, but especially during the musical moments, they're beautiful. The colors are vibrant and bright, and just the production of it all was just so great, and it looked very comic booky but also like its own thing. I'm a big La La Land type of guy, and this was like a very twisted La La Land type of scenes, these musical. First of all, Lady Gaga, of course, can sing her heart out, and Joaquin Phoenix, I really like how he sung in this movie, but just to look at it visually, it was stunning. As for like the love story side, it was pretty great in the beginning, and then like it slowly started to fall off, and like I just didn't like what it did at the end. And I honestly think the first act of this movie is probably the best act of the movie, the first hour, where it feels like this Cuckoo's Nest type of vibe in the prison, which is something I wasn't expecting at all. I liked seeing Joker's or Arthur's interaction with the guards in the prison and his lawyer. Like, that was super interesting, and the performances, of course, were pretty great. Nothing stand out like the first movie. Joaquin Phoenix is great in this movie. He's like just as good as he was in the first movie, not better, not worse, the same. I mean, with this script, there wasn't really much better he could do. Just another point of why this movie is so unnecessary. And Lady Gaga, of course, was great. I think she's been great in every movie she's been in so far, but I was honestly expecting a bit more. She didn't have that much screen time. She didn't really have any scenes on her own. She was mostly just like a part of Joker and his mind. She wasn't really her own character, it felt like, in this movie. She was very much a supporting character to Joker, but wasn't really her own. Of course, her voice is incredible, and her performances in this movie are for sure her best scenes in the movie, and her stage presence is great, especially in those performing scenes. Also, she kept saying that her and Joker are gonna build a mountain. I don't know what the fuck they were going for there, but they just kept saying that, and I don't know what that really means. And I gotta say, the worst part of this movie is the ending. That last scene is just so stupid, so dumb. I was like, this movie isn't bad, but like that last scene might like ruin the whole movie for me, because I'd be so surprised if it wasn't all the studio that put that scene in, or told them to put that scene in the movie. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but like, they're trying to set up something and it's just completely strange and pointless and really just serves as a setup. It is so out of place in this movie, and I honestly think it's really dumb. And this movie didn't need a second one. It for sure doesn't need a third movie. That would be overkill. I don't really know what they're doing. But yeah, that is my overall thoughts on Joker 2. It wasn't as bad as people are saying. It did not deserve a 40%, even less on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just a pointless movie. The movie didn't need the Joker movie did not need a sequel in the first place, and this is what we get. And like, there's not much you can do with it, and it was just a pointless movie, and I don't know why it was made. Let me know what you guys thought about Joker 2 in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.